Hi, Navpreet, Daphne here. How are you? Good to hear from you. Hope you and your family are well wherever you are in the world. What a crazy world this is now. But I hope you're safe and well done. Continuing with your writing is absolutely fantastic. It's I think everybody's taking some time just to settle down, but my students are all getting busy again. It's really good that you're still focused on your exam. It's fantastic. Now, okay, so let's get into this letter. This is write a letter to the local school, so I'm imagining it's not a very big, necessarily, school in your area, to give suggestions about improving its buildings and play area. Include why, how, and when. Okay? Dear Sir, Madam, and you're signing yours faithfully, that's great. Small f for faithfully, small letter there. Okay. I'm writing to bring under your attention some crucial enhancements for the institution's infrastructure and sports complex. Now, for me, this is quite a um, I'm going to use the word aggressive, but I don't mean to be rude. But I think it would be nicer to say, my son or my daughter has been at your school for a long time, and I've noticed that some of the buildings need a bit of improvement, and the play area is a little bit small. Something like that. This is a very formal start, almost like you're writing to a business. So I'm writing to bring to your attention, it would be, some crucial enhancements in the institution's enhancements which could be made to the institution's infrastructure and sports complex. So apart from those prepositions, it's not wrong, but the tone of it is too formal. It's not the right kind of language that we would use. We don't use this word anymore in English, very, very rarely in very, very formal writing. So I would say, because this is, remember you're writing to the head teacher, maybe, so you can be more friendly. I understand that the mission of the school is to provide high class and excellent edification. Education? Not sure what you mean there. Has remained unaffected, so singular, and then has unaffected until today, as now the buildings surrounding the schools have buildings, plural, have turned into skyscrapers. We just say skyscrapers. We don't use that. I like that, but we just use skyscrapers. So how is that affecting the education? That's to say, okay, students are not getting enough light in classrooms, which is a source of vitamin D for youngsters. Okay, which is an essential. Yeah. Okay. Along with that, the sports complex does not have sufficient favourite. I don't think you can use favourite there. Does not have enough indoor games for students, such as baseball or indoor sports games or a sports hall. Okay. I mean, no school is perfect. Only the richest schools are perfect. So for me, I think this is a bit strong. I think you're saying your school is not good enough. You've got to replace it quickly, rather than going, gosh, it must be very difficult for you. You don't, it's a lot of children in a small space. But hey, what about these suggestions? I think you should come at it from a different angle. I visited the building several times, and Hans putting forward my advice. Hans? Not sure. Hans put in my advice, or this would be my advice, maybe. Firstly, the east and south wing should be renovated. And that, again, should be. It's quite strong, could be, might be, or it would be fantastic to renovate that, to the south, so the sunlight could come in. Secondly, the west wing, with a bit of work and fundraising to get the money, could be double-storied. So the first floor could look over the play area. Paraphernalia, I wouldn't use that. Paraphernalia is more the rubbish that I have in my garage, that sort of thing. Give more room to building other sports centres. Yes. To make this solution conspicuous, not conspicuous, to make this solution rapid, or to make this into a rapid solution, or to start work rapidly, blueprint should be started immediately, so during the summer, so work could be so that during the summer vacations, work could be fulfilled promptly. Okay. it's almost like you're writing a letter of complaint. So I think it should be more like a letter of friendly suggestion. So for me, the biggest problem with that is the just the understanding of the kind of thing it needed for this, the the approach to it, and because of that, your language is not quite right. It just sounds a little bit too unfriendly. Maybe try writing that again for yourself, Navpreet, in a more friendly way. I think that might be more appropriate. Okay, some of your language is really good. You've got some great vocabulary. It's just a question of using it in the right way. Okay. Task 2. It's too expensive to look after old buildings. This money should be spent on building modern buildings. To what extent do you agree? Okay. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated whether to fix. Fix is not very high level, but we could say fix or restore. Fix, renovate, or restore. So there we are, giving you some really nice words immediately. Precious old buildings, or to establish brand new ones. Some believe it is costly to take care of heritage monuments. Personally, historians disagree. Very nice. This essay will argue that saving every bit of old dwellings can be beneficial for an economy. Using examples. Good, that is a nice intro. Very good there. Lovely. On the one hand, there's ample evidence, except for I wouldn't use bit. Every aspect, every element would be higher level words. Okay? Of how a conventional building structure reflects the beauty of any particular town. Good. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, it is a source point which guides many. Don't know what that word is. Travellers and pedestrians. I wouldn't say a source point. I would say okay, a starting point, maybe starting point and magnet. It's quite a good word. You're attracted to it, which guides many curious, curious tourists, and as well as local pedestrians. Secondly, in tourism, or this tourism, you'd have to say, the tourism this attracts contributes tremendously to an economy's revenue. Why? Because people wanted to go on guided tours, blah, 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 blah. Give me more before you're an example. Okay? You need to develop this more before you go into your example. Recent research demonstrated that. See, you can later, if you're worried about words, you can cut this down. We can tidy this up. But I'm happy that you're using the template guide for the moment. That's great. It's organising the essay really well. 70% of all earnings are from tourism, and that they are an essential element for the overall growth and development of the nation. Okay. Now, you've got two present tenses there. We can upgrade that. Earnings are from tourism industry, which is an essential element. So rather than repeating that they are, you say which is an essential element. Okay, so putting in a relative clause shows a higher level of grammar there as well. So that's a good point on the grammar. Okay, and must not be forgotten that, albeit, okay, you'd have to say although, because if you want to use, I wouldn't use this word because it is definitely old-fashioned. But if you say, you could say it in this way: it must not be forgotten that these monuments, comma, albeit antique, comma, are still da 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 da. Okay, this here you can't use it here. You'd have to use although. Are antique, populous. Okay, populous. It's had to do with populations. I would say they remain a landmark. They remain a landmark for the population as a guiding point. Yeah, I like that idea. Therefore, it's completely clear these exquisite buildings are worth being kept and repaired. That's a nice paragraph. You could give me an example of what kind of buildings you mean here, yeah? Okay, sorry, I was just saying, it'd be nice to have some idea what these buildings might be. Give me an example of a building in your area or some special area. Where do the tourists start? So get something real in here. So on the other hand, although this is a case of grandfathered monuments, we wouldn't use that word, doesn't exist. I would say ancient heritage, you've used those words already, but monument, world recognized monuments or protecting monuments. The impact of new skyscrapers is humongous. Ooh, don't use that word, it's very informal, and cannot be disguised. This is largely because new infrastructure planning and organisation is thoroughly managed whenever a new project is commenced. Okay, so what do you mean? Not sure what you mean here. For example, an extensive study by Yale shows that over 75% of a company's resources are multi-used, which reduces the efficiency of their major income earning capacity and hence creates subtly high chances for the corporation to go bankrupt. Okay, not relevant. I want you to tell me about, not relevant, this bit. I think what I want you to be talking about here is how, yes, old buildings, lovely, but the money should be spent on modern buildings. So it's expensive to repair these. Yeah, they are not practical. They're not environmentally friendly. You can't put many people in them to live. You could build a new housing block, which could look really beautiful, and it could be lots of apartments, or you could make a new monument in your town. You could build a fantastic art gallery, which is a showcase of modern architecture. So I think this talking about businesses and corporations going bankrupt is not relevant. Is that new establishment is more costlier than to restructure already built building? Not necessarily. In some countries, it's cheaper to build new buildings. So you'd have to say, building is that for many establishments, it may be costlier. Or is that building a new or putting in place a new building or new headquarters, if you want to talk about companies, may be more costly than to restructure the already built building. Yes. Thus, it's possible to state beyond doubt, investing in repair is cost more effective. Well, it's not. You can't state that beyond doubt. It's too strong. That's so be careful of this. It may be that investing in repairing is more cost effective than starting from scratch. It would be, and again that would be too informal, than starting on a new, lengthy, modern project. From the arguments examples given, I firmly believe that all the new establishments are, yes, new establishments are maybe eye-catching, but, so you have to suggest modal verb in here, maybe eye-catching, but the preservation and care for the beauty and exquisiteness of the antique monuments is by far. Is incomparable by far. That's right. Incomparable by far has to come after that. It's predicted that governments are raising their budget allocations towards heritage. Yes, absolutely. Are inclined to increase. So rather than it will be raising, so I'd say they are inclined to increase their budget allocations. Okay. So, Navpreet, let me just sum this up for you. You've done two good tasks here. The first one is too formal. I think you need to really understand the kind of letter you're asked to write. That's important to get the context right. The second one, you've got some really lovely ideas in here. The coherence is much better going through this. I feel you need to develop the first section a bit more before you get into the examples. The examples can be a bit shorter, but develop the first section in here. The main issue I think I'm having is that some of it is a little bit hard to understand. There's some words creeping in that aren't quite the right academic level, so it's a question of vocabulary here. I think it would be good to throw me some more grammar. I think you want to get in some conditional sentences, what we call the complex grammar, passive verbs, relative clauses, this sort of thing which the examiner is looking for a band 7, even 7.5. You need to be showing some very, very clever writing grammar here. I have to say to you, I have never, ever, ever seen a band 9 essay. I think my colleague has seen a few, but they are ridiculously rare. Yeah, so I would be happier if you aim for a 7, yeah, and then surprise yourself and get a 7.5. But I think you'll just take it steady. Okay, you can do it. You can absolutely do it, but it just needs a little bit of work, which is what you're doing. You sent me 2 more tasks. What I'd like you to do is review those, listen to these corrections, review those tasks, and then send them back to me. I don't want to correct them yet because I want you to take on board what I'm saying now, and then edit them yourself. Okay, that's a really important part of this learning process. But stay safe and thank you. Good work.